Hey everyone! I bet you are not wondering where the hell I've been because, well, you probably have better things to do with your life than worry about what I've been doing. But I've been doing a lot. And that's why I haven't really been doing any of these podcasts in the last couple months between job stuff and kid stuff and started school for my PhD in history. I've been a little busy. But today I just want to come at you with, when the hell did people become a bunch of pansies? Seriously. People, for whatever reason, and I don't know why, are afraid to speak out about anything. They just keep their mouths shut and just go on with their day to day, no matter usually how much it affects them, until it starts like boiling over, and then they freak out and, have an emotional freaking tantrum. And I only bring this up because last week I'm on the school board. I brought forward a couple motions. Here's my first one. This says, no employee in the Monadnock School District will teach any of the following that instills any form of race, gender, sex stereotyping, including the concepts that one race or sex is inherently superior to another race or sex. An individual, by virtue of his or her race or sex, is inherently racist, sexist, or oppressive, whether consciously or unconsciously. An individual should be discriminated against or receive adverse treatment solely or partly because of his or her race or sex. Members of one race or sex cannot and should not attempt to treat others without respect to race or sex. An individual's moral character is necessarily determined by his or her race or sex. An individual, by virtue of his or her race or sex, bears responsibility for actions committed in the past by other members of the same race or sex. Any individual should feel discomfort, guilt, anguish, or any other form of psychological distress on account of his or her race or sex, or mediocrity, or traits such as hard work ethic are racist or sexist, or were created by a particular race to oppress another race. So I read that, and guess what I hear from the school board? Crickets. Nothing. Finally, one person speaks up and says, well, I'll second it because we can talk about it. Ooh. And if you don't know, this is the pretty much almost the very exact similar bill that was at the New Hampshire State House, House Bill 544. And it basically has to do with critical race theory. I don't want the school district to teach my child they should feel bad about themselves because of the color of their skin or their gender. I don't want the school district teaching my child that somebody else should get more opportunity than they should get because of their race or gender. I don't want the school district to teach my child that their moral character, who they are as a person, is because of their race or gender. And you would think that any other sane person would have this view. No, they don't. And I'm going to get into that. So my second motion was this. Teachers or staff will not discriminate against a student on the basis of race, gender, sexual orientation, religion, or political ideology. Assignments and curriculum need to be geared towards all arguments for and against a subject. Teachers, support staff, and administration need to keep their personal opinions about curriculum or current areas of study to themselves and focus on the sources that a student used to retrieve their information. Teachers will give out examples of positive and negative arguments to all topic assignments. A teacher cannot grade on their personal belief on what is right or wrong, but solely on the facts provided by the student. Encourage sharing opinions for and against all topics without fear of being ridiculed. Teachers or staff will never influence students by informing them of what their political ideology is. I bring that forward, and what do I hear? Crickets. Again. Then, once again, somebody finally says, Well, I'll second it because we can talk about it. I'm sorry. I talk to a lot of people, a lot of students, a lot of parents, a lot of people in the community. I try to be very active in the community. And I've heard many complaints. And I voice my opinion on why they don't go to the school directly. Because this is what happens. They go to the school, they complain, it gets swept under the rug. They wait a couple weeks, they go to the school, they complain again, it gets swept under the rug. Finally, after going back and forth to the school who knows how many times, now they're upset. And then they go in there, their emotions are going crazy, and they have an emotional breakdown and yell at everybody in the school. And then they become known as that parent. And I know a lot of you out there can probably agree with me that this happens because it does. So, second motion, discuss it. Literally one of the school board members goes, well, I don't agree with that motion because you're contradicting the first one. You're saying that in the first motion that they're not allowed to teach a subject, and in the second motion, you're saying they have to show all views. Yeah, because there's a huge difference in teaching two sides of if you should have an electoral college or you shouldn't have an electoral college. There's a huge difference in what immigration policies are good and what immigration policies are bad. There's huge differences in teaching those and teaching a child they should feel bad or they should basically hate themselves because of the color of their skin or their gender or their sexual orientation or whatever it is. Massive difference right there. And that huge red flag. So apparently people want the school district to teach our children, they should teach our children that, your child's moral character depends on their race and gender. That's what decides their character. Or, you should feel guilty or anguish or some other form of psychological distress because of your race or gender. You should feel guilty about that. That's what some of these people think we should teach our kids. And what irritates me even more is the fact that nobody would speak out against it. What happened to society? What happened to people speaking out against what's right and what's wrong and what they feel strongly about it and what we should be doing to help our kids grow? What happened to that? Am I the only one left? I know I'm not the only one left, but it seems like in this area, you have all these people that aren't afraid to put down a Facebook post or write something on Twitter or, keyboard warriors out there. But everybody else is afraid to step up, step into the middle of it. It's very upsetting. It irritates the crap out of me. And then, before all this happened, we had to talk about masks at the school district again, as they pertain to outdoor sports. That when the kids are on the field playing in 70, 80, 85 degree weather, to make sure you keep your mask on. Whatever happened to the whole science crap? CDC now goes down to 3 foot distance, so you only have to stay 3 feet away from people, not 6. And you have to be within that vicinity for at least 10 to 15 minutes. But no, that doesn't count anymore. Now it's just fucking fear propaganda. Oh, everybody's gonna wear a mask all the time. Especially kids who, most people, under the age of 40 with no health conditions have a more likely chance of dying in an automobile accident than dying of COVID. And if they do get COVID, that's a good thing. Because one, they're not going to die. And they're going to build up a natural immunity to it. And they don't have to take this experimental vaccine. Because they have natural antibodies. No, but, these kids out on the baseball field and softball field and running around a track, need to have their mask on because look at this. Look how close they are. That's my spiel for today. Thanks for listening. Please speak out. Stand up and say something. Grow a pair and do what's right for your community. Stop sitting back and ignoring it.